Hey, my friends, this is the art of prepping. So I'm just sitting here in front of the fan. Hopefully the fan isn't too loud. It's about 9 feet away, so I'm thinking it might be okay to do this with the fan on. If it does cause a little bit of a problem, I apologize, but it's so comfortable to sit here in front of the fan. So what I found is a top 10 list of fears for Americans. And this was done toward the end of 2018. This is the most current survey of fear that's out right now. In a few months, though, the 2019 survey will take place. And this is from Chapman University. So check it out. It's really interesting. A lot of research. I'm going to do like a really, what am I trying to say? A condensed, it's been a long day, guys. Condensed, abbreviated look at this. So, top 10 fears. And we'll just start at number 1. And I'm going to try to give you a little bit of a commentary as I go. And I would love to hear, though, if you can relate to this list. Like, are these your top 10 fears? And if not, like, what are some things that you think this list is missing? They actually surveyed all these people, and they gave them like about close to like 100. It was around 100 options. So it wasn't like they were able to write in their fears and then they ranked them everything. They literally just gave them a master list and they went through it. And so this may not be like the same as self-reporting surveys, but I think they wanted to have at least some control over the type of topics so that it could be categorized and ranked more effectively, So, top 10 here. So let's go ahead and jump to the number 1. The number 1 fear in America, as of this most recent survey, is corruption of government officials at 74%. I mean, I have the same, concerns too. I would probably rank it up in the very top as well. I mean, it's a fact that there is corruption in all governments. And here in the U.S., we have city government, state government, we have federal government, and there's problems in all those governments. And I do have concerns about leadership and the officials that are supposed to be leaders. A lot of times are not leaders. A lot of times they're actually problems and we have to kick them out. It's just a real mess. That's probably one thing that I see that America is lacking is leadership, like real leadership, morals, and, role models. It's not that we don't have any role models, but it's not like when I was growing up. I remember I had no problem, naming 10, 20 people that could be role models when I was, a young lad. Even going up to like my later teens, I had all kind of role models. But when I stop for a moment and look at like in popular culture and just look at what's out there, there's not that many people that I look up to. I'm just going to be honest with you. Okay, so the next is at 62%, the second most feared thing here in the U.S. is pollution. Pollution of oceans, rivers, and lakes. I'm a little surprised by that. I didn't think it would be that high on the list. But right next to it at 61% is pollution of drinking water. And this might be from the last few years where we've had several cities in America that basically there's stuff in the water that shouldn't be. And well, we've actually have and continue to have stuff in water, drinking water that really shouldn't be, like fluoride and other types of stuff. But I'm talking about like lead and other things, other kind of contaminants and heavy metals, and I don't think that we need to get into all that. But there's certainly some cities that are still trying to recover from that to this day. Next at 57% is not having enough money for the future. Now, I did go back to the 2017 and the 2016 surveys, just to see like how things were ranked there and in comparison. And what I thought was interesting is that this one here, not having enough money for the future, was actually a higher, level ranking or a higher concern than it is in this latest survey of 2018. So it seems like potentially that the economy really is better, or at least slightly better, because less people are reporting it as, such a, big concern or fear. But it still is at 57%. So it kind of looks like that either people don't have enough savings, not enough emergency fund, maybe they just don't make enough. I don't know. But 57% though, that's still a pretty big number. Next is at 57% as well, tied with not having enough money for the future, is people I love becoming seriously ill. Yeah, I can understand that. It almost seems like more than ever that cancer is just everywhere. I know several people right now that are dealing with cancer, and it's just surprising. It just makes you wonder, like, man, why is it so common? I mean, I have my ideas. I'm just putting that out there for you, but to think about. But yeah, I mean, it just shouldn't be this common, but it is. And it really seems like the prevalence rate is just going up every year. At 56% is people I love dying. People have a lot of concerns about that. I mean, it changes your whole life, obviously. When you have a loved one or a really close friend that dies, it's stressful. It really, really is stressful. Air pollution is ranking there in the top 10 as well at 55% of those surveyed. And of course, the survey really involves a wide girth of various people in various cities and states. I mean, this survey was kind of like a very, very diverse, from what I understand, a very diverse survey. They try to get people from all walks of life here in the USA. And so 55% of them said air pollution was really up there, really concerned about that. See, for me, I live in a more rural area and I don't see smog and all that. And so I guess I don't really think about it. But I can see, though, if you lived near, an industrial parkway, maybe you live like in an urban area and you see, smog or you see pollution, right? I think I would probably be concerned as well. Next is at 54%. 54% of people say that extinction of plant and animal species, they have fear about this. They have concerns. I don't honestly think much about that. Maybe I'm just more of the belief that humans are not really affecting the ecology as much as people are saying. I do believe that we do affect, the world, obviously, but I think there's a lot of natural processes in play, and I think it's a little bit egotistical to say that humans are doing all these things, or climate change and killing all the animals and all the plants, and I mean, really, I don't see that. We do have a part that we're playing, but I don't think it's the biggest piece of the pie. Okay, next here at 53%, global warming and climate change. Really? Now, this is just, something that I kind of have some problems with, because the more you dig, the more you find big holes in these theories of climate change. And if you see how the data has been collected and changed and manipulated over the years, there's so much to be said about this. We may have to just do a completely different video down the road if you guys want that. But to me personally, and I've spent a large amount of time researching this to kind of really see if we really do have climate change, or if it's global warming or global cooling, and because you hear everything out there, right? And to me personally, I see that we probably have almost no real change in temperature, over the last 140 years. Officially, though, it's supposed to be like 0.9 degree increase, and that may be true, But you got to understand, though, that's not even a statistical percentage. So, it's not enough of a change to even be statistical. And what you got to remember as well is how they've been collecting the data, over all these decades. And that there's more cities than there used to be, and there's a lot more thermometers and data collection, units or whatever in these cities. And you know how cities are, right? They're kind of like a heat sink. And so, yeah, they're going to be a few degrees warmer in a city than in an outlying area. And there's also a lot of things that they used to not do, like certain ways of taking temperatures in oceans. And of course, there's a lot more thermometers and data collection areas than there used to be. So the data is a little bit skewed by that. And so, to be honest with you, 1 degree or one, if you want to call it 1% change, it's just not statistical. And so I just, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to buy into that, especially when you see the big push politically, the politics behind global warming and carbon credits. And it's a power grab is what I think. It's a tool of control, and you're entitled to believe what you want. I know there's a lot of people on the channel that kind of have mixed feelings about this topic. And some people are very diehard about, it's so hot, much more than it used to be. Yes, we've had some hot days, but we've also had some really, really cold days in the last few years, some record-breaking code. So we have record-breaking code and hot heat, and when you average all this out again, it doesn't really increase the temperature overall. So, when you see the mainstream media that goes up to the Arctic in the summer and they find areas that there's melt water or, there's melting, and it's just like, okay, some of that really is normal. But they don't go back during the winter and they don't show all this water freezing and, so let's just say this, there's plenty of ice still in the world. There's one of the reasons why we don't live in the Antarctic still, because it's freaking 2 miles of continental ice sheets. And, it's pretty much a wasteland for a lot of us. It's just freezing cold. So let's just move along to the last one here in the top 10 list. And that is that 53% of those surveyed said, hey, high medical bills are a major, major fear and concern. And so let's dive into this, because I want to represent a friend. I won't name him, but he's going through a really bad time right now with insurance companies. Well, I think his insurance company and there's like a third party that represents his grievances because his prescription medicine has been denied 3 times over the last few months, and he needs this. He has actually a really bad illness. It's actually like terminal, or it can be at least. He's been trying to work through that and live the best he can, but he's deals with a lot of pain and all kinds of problems. And what's so sad is that you have to really fight to get the care you need. And I experienced this myself. End of last year, I had a vitamin D deficiency. It's crazy. I take supplements. I thought I was outside enough, but apparently I just didn't get enough vitamin D. And I had some crazy symptoms. And it took about, I believe, roughly 3 months, if memory serves me right, to even get diagnosed correctly. I had like 4 misdiagnoses. They said that, one person said, it's just anxiety. One person said that I had depression. Another person said that I had the flu. Another person said it could be Lyme disease. Another person said it could be like, of course, some of these were also being said at the same time. It's not that I had all these. I had 4 doctors, but some of them said I had multiple things going on. And one of the other things was like, the chronic fatigue syndrome. And of course, none of those were true. And we were just really, the doctors really just had no clue at all what to do to help me. And I was pretty bad off. And so I just said, let's just start doing blood tests. Let's just go down the list. I don't care. So we had 21 blood tests. And at the very end, they were like, oh, you have dangerous levels of vitamin D, like you don't have almost any in you. And I'm like, what? So it took a number of months to get my vitamin D's levels up. It's a fat soluble vitamin. I have videos on this if you're curious about what happened. But yeah, it was, I'm feeling fine now, but it was just a number of months, about 3 months to really get back on my feet, but about 6 months to really feel back to my normal self. And yeah, but it cost me thousands of dollars, and that's even with good insurance. And that's part of this right here, the high medical bills. Things are outrageous. And on top of that, it's just my experience and my buddy's experience and other family members' experiences that you get. There's not a lot of good care. Now, you may be lucky and have a good doctor. I'm not saying that all doctors are, incompetent and all that. But there's a lot of bad experiences, and a lot of people every day die. It's a very large number too. I don't want to quote it right here now because I don't really have it in front of me, but it's a very large number. You might want to look into it, of how many people die a day from medical malpractice. And so it's just crazy. The world's crazy. And health insurance shouldn't be so expensive. Medical care shouldn't be so wacky, And it's almost like the doctors, for example, in my case, they didn't even consider a vitamin deficiency like a serious problem. I'm like, what? It's just like really shocking. And then I found out, though, when I questioned each one at a later date, that they admitted that they really didn't have any training when it comes to deficiencies. Can you imagine that? Like, here in the modern day, seriously, like in the modern day, doctors don't have almost any formal training on vitamin deficiencies. It's all about prescription drugs, isn't it? And that's what I found out. So anymore, I feel compelled that as long as I didn't break a bone, or as long as I'm not having a heart attack, I'm going to go to a naturopathic doctor or maybe an herbalist. I'm not going to go to a mainstream. It was such a ridiculous experience. And I was having complications, everything from ear infections to that I wasn't able to hardly walk just because of my vitamin D deficiency. I couldn't even think very clearly. Sometimes I couldn't remember my last name, like craziness. And so it's always important to really kind of have a good resource, a good health resource in case something like that happens, because I was actually, active. I was eating healthy. I was taking supplements. In fact, I was even taking vitamin D supplements when all this was happening. But guess what? I wasn't taking it the right way, and my body couldn't absorb it. And so now I've learned a lot more. I learned that you need vitamin K2. In particular, the most efficient way to get it through K2 is the MK7 variant. And I learned all this stuff, that you can supercharge that absorption with magnesium and vitamin E and a few other things. And I had to learn all this the hard way because my so-called doctors weren't able to help me. They didn't know anything. The healthcare system is broken, if you ask me. And the cost, well, guess what? We're paying for their mistakes. And so a vitamin D deficiency should have been found at most maybe a few $100s to find that out, not thousands of dollars. But I had to pay the price for the ignorance of my doctors. So I just want to end it here. And these are the top 10 fears that Americans have. Once again, this was done in late 2018. In a few months, we'll have the newest ranking. Should be very interesting to see what changes and how it changes. But you guys take care. Thanks for checking out my videos. I really do appreciate all of your support and all of your messages. It really does mean a lot. I would admit, though, that lately, though, I have been having some troll problems and a lot of haters. And YouTube has demonetized a very large number of my videos. And I do have some problems with trying to keep things up and going right now when it comes to YouTube. And so it's a bit of a struggle to continue to make videos when it's just there's such a push and pull, and there's so much drama. And so there might be a time in the near future that I just take a break for a few weeks, few months maybe. I don't know. But I just wanted to mention it because people sometimes get concerned, and I do appreciate that you're concerned. But, in the last few months, the channel has kind of slowed down a lot. And it's mainly because YouTube has not really started to recommend, or they have almost completely stopped recommending my videos and other videos. And so the traffic to the channel is really stalled. And also the new subscribers, which used to be very healthy. I mean, sometimes it would be at least a couple hundred people a month that would be new subscribers, have really been cut back because people can't even find my channel. And it's not just me. I have other buddies that are into, preparedness, and they're here on YouTube. And they're having some of the same problems. At first, I thought maybe it was just because it was summertime, because there's always a natural decline of viewership during summer because people are going out and doing things. They're on vacation, all that stuff. It's normal. And I do the same thing. But no, it's not just because it's summer. It's because of the political climate and policies and deviant behavior from YouTube. And just really sad. It actually makes me sick to my stomach sometimes, just the crap that goes on. Behind the wall there in YouTube land. And, what are you going to do, though? So I'll just mention it so you guys know what's up, Currently, the channel does have a few strikes. I don't even know exactly what it's for. They just say that they don't like a video, and so there's always that possibility that the channel could, just disappear one day. I mean, I'm not saying that it will soon. I hope at least it doesn't. But you just don't know anymore. They play games with people. And the more that I put up controversial videos, which maybe I should just stop doing that. But at the same time, I like to share the truth. I like to talk about things that are important, right? But there's just almost no freedom of speech anymore. The censorship these days is outrageous. It's just outrageous. And I almost want to push the envelope. But when I do that, I know that I really risk a lot because the channel could just evaporate overnight. And so there is a part of me that wants to just get my own, independent, separate website and go with that. But I do all my videos through my phone. And so if I was to have a website, I would want to have a desktop or a laptop to manage that because I don't want to do everything through my phone. It's just too ridiculous. And there's a part of me that doesn't want to spend that much time dealing with updating a website and all that. So I don't know, maybe down the road, if someone, knows a lot about website management and design and all that stuff. I have some information and some knowledge about website building, but I've never done it in recent days. It's been a long time since I put up a website, and then that website isn't even around anymore. So I've just been thinking about that. I mean, in an ideal world, it would be awesome to have my own website and have my own store that I would have cool items to sell and have awesome videos that I would post every day or two. And people would come and check that out. But at the same time, though, it's hard to get traffic when you're on your own. But that's kind of what it feels like right now on YouTube, since they've stopped recommending my videos and they demonetized most of my videos, and they say things that it's not going along community guidelines and it's not advertiser friendly, and they have all this crap. And some videos, they don't even tell me anything. They just do it. They just demonetize, or they just give me a strike, and it's just no explanation. So anyways, it's just stuff going on. It's just how it's been for years, but it's just getting worse. And I see a lot of good people leaving YouTube, just giving them the finger and just walking away. And don't get me wrong, I've felt like doing that a few times, but there's a number of you guys that it's just fun to keep up with, and it's just the easiest way of doing it right now is through YouTube. But I don't like being part of YouTube because the culture, the internal culture, I should say, of YouTube, those who run YouTube, I really just have a lot of problems with those people, what they've been doing. to a lot of good, people that are trying to just, spread good information, trying to help other people. And so the world really is a crazy place, but I'm going to jump off here. You guys take care, and I'll catch you on the next one, God willing.